Okay, we'll call the meeting of the Morrow County Board of Commissioners to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, next item is public comment. The way we usually do it is the way we usually do it is take comment from anybody in the room, then we go to Zoom. If there are people that want to comment, I won't go through the rules, so we'll do it that way. Is there anybody in the room that has a public comment? Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to make a public comment? Please raise your hand.
Seeing anybody?
Anybody see anybody? Okay. Okay, consideration and adoption of budget. We got a couple of changes here. Not agenda, budget, adoption of agenda. I'm sorry. One is Justice Court. This is more department reports, but Justice Report has a printout he gave us. I don't think it was in the packet, so it's right here. And then the other two items under business items, strike A and B. So with those changes, I'll entertain a motion to the agenda.
Would move to adopt the agenda with removing items A and B under number 6 business items.
Second.
You've been second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, then we have our department reports. First up is Carrie Walter with our tourism consultant semi-annual report. And she is. Hey,
I'm just here for moral support.
Of course, Tim.
So we appreciate it.
Well, I figured if I forgot something, he could add it in. So, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. I am Carrie Walshley, contracted with Morrow County for tourism as tourism coordinator. As I go through this, feel free to ask me any questions.
Okay.
So,
And by the way, I'm Vince Guerrero, Assistant County Administrator, help to oversee tourism.
Vince.
okay, next slide. There we go. Okay, so just as a reminder, our objectives for tourism in Morrow County to promote sustainable attractions, events, experiences for visitors and community families, to support small businesses, share the stories and the history of Morrow County, support and protect the natural resources, utilize collaborative opportunities, and strengthen Morrow County's economy. So next slide. This is an insert that Travel Oregon does prior to releasing the Dean Runyon report. So it comes out usually at the beginning of the year with some estimated. So for 2024, this come out ahead of the report as just kind of what 2024 looked like in the state of Oregon on the travel impact. So next slide. So just some quick highlights from that. Travel spending for the state of Oregon was $14.3 billion last year, and that's up slightly. 480 new travel related jobs were added to the industry on a statewide. So, and this kind of gets down. So these dollars not adjusted for inflation. So when the 2025 report comes out next May, there'll be an adjustment a little bit on there. Residents in Oregon accounted for 37% of the visitor spending. That was kind of some new information I thought was interesting. PDX still struggling to get back to the 2019 levels on direct visitor spending. A lot of that does filter down into some of our rural communities because of the travel coming into the airport and filtering through. So next slide. So looking at Morrow County. So if you look at the 2024 column, we are up just slightly over the 2023. on the direct spending. On other, you'll see we're down 9.2%. What other is spending by residents on travel arrangements or services and spending on convention event activity. So that is statewide, a lot of that is down. So Morrow County is pretty much in the normal on that. And actually, your numbers for Morrow County are not as large as they are in some other counties. This information, as I've stated before, the Teen Runyon Report can be found on the Travel Oregon website under the industry link. And you can go to reports. So it's a lot of good information. So on the next slide, yeah, go ahead, go. Yeah, what?
Go ahead. So under the local taxes, do you know what that would make up? I know in the footnotes, it says like transient lodging taxes and different things like that, but is there anybody in Morrow County that has a transient lodging tax?
The county, yeah, each of the hoteliers in Morrow County do charge, whether they're located in like Boardman, which I think collects a 5%, and then the state of Oregon at a 1.5%.
Okay, so
and
that
so-
answered the question.
Boardman and Hebner.
And Hefner.
And Hefner both
Both.
charge a transient lodging. tax.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's.
As well as the
good, so
state.
good, Mike.
It gets to a whole point too, Jeff.
That's $200,000.
Yeah.
Truly, yeah. So it does make a difference. And by state legislation, they have a split on the way it has to be used for development within those communities. So kind of furthering on that question, next slide.
Well, actually, I have a
Oh,
question.
okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
We're interested, so I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah,
The other, you said the other was specifically on local spending?
yeah, it is. This is something they started doing the last number of years, and in their glossary, they say it includes spending by residents on travel arrangements, services, and or spending on convention and event activity. So take, for instance, you're planning an activity in Boardman. You're utilizing your local resources. So, whether you pay to, rent the event center or you're having a company do printing, or you're paying for some hotel rooms for, people that you're bringing in. So that's all kind of accumulated as other.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's, they haven't, in all the years that I've been doing this is kind of a new thing, which makes sense, honestly. So, it's another avenue. So on the next slide, kind of breaks down to Morrow County. So total travel spending directly supported 240 tourism-related jobs. That's down 10 from 2023. So the total direct travel spending in Morrow County, 17,800,000 is up 4.4 from 2019. So when I first looked at this, I put down there down slightly from 2023, and actually it's averaging pretty close to the same. It's up $100,000. So that's good that we haven't went backwards, and it's just slated to keep moving forwards. So the visitor spending impacts, the amount of visitor spending that supports one job is just over $67,000. For every $100 of visitor spending, it contributes to $38 to the employer proprietor earnings. That is up $4 from 2023. For every $100 of visitor spends, it generates $5 to local and state tax revenues, which is up $1 from 2023.
So I did some quick math. 258,880 overnight visitors in Morrow County is 700 visitors a night.
709. Same question,
Yeah,
guys.
where are they staying? I mean, I know I live in the boondocks, but I feel like I would notice that in some capacity.
Well, you think you would. They also, it's a lot of people that are coming back and staying in already, like family housing and stuff, but they are purchasing fuel, they are purchasing retail. I'm not exactly dialed in on how they accumulate all those numbers.
Okay.
I just know they do have a mathematical equation.
I was
that-
wondering,
And also the visitors doesn't differentiate from our, temporary workers who are here
Correct.
compared to
That-
tourists coming to see the
That was
sign.
what I was really interested in. Is this including like RV parks where somebody's staying here for 6 months and working? Cause
Yeah.
that would be actually really useful to have that broken down.
I mean,
Yeah,
even,
and I don't-
even our OHV.
Yeah.
Charges a TLT for the
Mhm.
state,
Yeah,
so.
Okay.
they do. So,
So hold on.
go ahead.
We pay the TLT. It's included in the fee that we charge. So we don't charge extra. Just wanted to make sure
It's
that
just
you were
all
clear on
included.
that.
All right.
Yeah, and that's what Kirsty had told
Add
me.
it on, it's included in.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
added
it's
on.
not itemized out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
So, all right. So we don't know exactly how all of those are broken out.
no, and I don't know if there's a definitive way to really dial in on that.
That's-
Honestly,
That's fair.
so, yeah,
It'd be neat, but it's fair.
it would be great to have it dialed in. Yeah,
Several hundred of those are probably associated with the energy development and the
Mhm.
data
Yeah,
centers.
talking to the hoteliers here on the north end of the county in Boardman, they're constantly full during the week.
Yep.
And then come Friday, on the Friday to Sunday is when they're not as busy is because everybody goes home. But Monday through Thursday is when they're pretty full.
So
That's more days out of the week, I guess.
So instead of really tourists, they are temporary residents.
Temporary.
Yeah.
mhm,
Which
yeah,
just for planning purposes makes for a different, demographic that we would be catering to if that's what we're looking at, what we
Right.
have. Yeah.
well, and one of the goals, so here's two things, Travel Oregon deems a visitor that's coming in from over 50 miles away. So then also with that weekly stays that the hoteliers are talking about, that's why event development for weekends
Mm.
would be advantageous to fill those extra rooms because, as you travel, generally, you're paying more for a Friday and Saturday nights at a hotel when you travel.
Yeah.
Generally.
Like, somewhat, before we do this slide, it's kind of along the same line as at the $17.8 million. I mean, when you divide that by 365, it comes out to, I believe, $47,000 a day, so.
Question,
Yeah, again, it'd be interesting how they come up with some of these figures and.
Yeah, there's been a number of us that have asked for a 101 class on this so we can understand it a little bit better, but
I think some good numbers that you could potentially get would be from the city of Boardman, how much they actually generate in a TLT tax that they charge.
Mhm.
That might give you a good idea of how much they're actually doing within the city of Boardman itself.
Yeah.
So,
It's just where most of the hotel.
Correct.
rooms
Right.
are.
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
So, no, that's a good point.
yeah, there are
Interesting
six
Follow-up.
hotels within the county that do report on the state level. So 240 rooms, I think is what it comes out to. Okay, so a little update on what we got going. Next slide. So in progress, so Vince and I have been talking about acquiring some photography and video assets. I've talked with a couple people that are interested. So putting together a request for a proposal from somebody that we hope to hire to obtain those assets. I'm wrapping up a marketing plan draft. So agritourism, the farm trail itineraries, and the value-added businesses exposure, we are going to be updating the brochure in this next coming year. I know some of you are familiar with some of the Dark Skies event development for the OHV park that we've been in talks with Dawn Nielsen, who is a Travel Oregon expert. They hired her in. So I constantly make sure that when I'm putting itineraries together, that I do include the Heritage Trail and the county parks. So Eat, Stay, Play, events and attractions are also a part of those. Evolving itineraries are targeted towards individual visitors, families, tour groups, and influencers. So on the social media, we've had a rise between July and September 2025 compared to 24. Viewership is up 52.2%. 72.6 is non-following. And 27, just over 27 are followers, 95% or 90.5% increase in interactions. 60% of those are followers. Audience is 28% men, 72% women. Largest demographic is age 45 to 54. Most of the viewing content is through the Pacific Northwest on the region. So on publications, main piece of my budget goes into the EOVA visitor guide. So you have visitation on the website and expanded social media. Looking into, and in the past, we've done co-op marketing opportunities. Travel Oregon, same thing. So Otis is the Oregon Travel Information System. So when I put together the community's events calendars and everything that's going on, also the Eat, Stay, Play attractions and events, I'll go into Otis, that's the Oregon Tourism Information System. So when people are searching for Eastern Oregon, we're assured that it's supposed to be pulling up. So, and I go back occasionally and look and see what's pulling up and what's not, and try and get to the powers that be to pull those up a little bit better. Next slide. Eastern Oregon Visitors Association, which I am the vice president on. This is the guide that there's 90,000 copies distributed across Oregon, Washington, Idaho, with Eastern Oregon Visitors Association and Travel Oregon. Main piece of fulfillment when it's requested, that gets mailed out. When I'm contacted, because I keep publications at my office as well, I mail those out. So it's great because we can get more dialed into a target audience. So you'll see down below, part of the itineraries that I submit go into kind of a broader itinerary put together for what's called Oregon's Rugged Country, both Umatilla and Morrow counties. This over on the left-hand bottom of the screen is the ad that went in this past year for each of the communities, hopefully giving them a boost on what is available in those communities as people are coming through. Any questions so far? Okay. Okay, all right, next slide. So the River to the Hills Farm Trail is part of the farm trail that covers both Morrow County and Umatilla County. Down below are what are the benefits of being on a farm trail. I can let you guys cover that yourself. So what we have coming in 2026, we will be expanding and updating the online information and the brochure information. I have signage that I will be supplying to a number of Morrow County businesses that have come on that are not quite in the brochure yet, but have said they want to be a part of it. So we've worked regionally on a producers database that we will be distributing out for cooperative collaborations and networking opportunities for crossover business. You know, hopefully people will reach out to other ones. So I just finished up an event in Portland for Umatilla County and have talked with Jessica Eakin. She's the executive director of the James Beard Public Market in Portland for opportunities for our farm trail friends to be able to have some exposure and showcase down in Portland area. So hopefully that will come about next year. Next slide. So as again, some of you may know that we've been working on a Dark Skies Morrow County event. So this is an aspect in tourism that's really taken hold and expanding, mostly because they have to stay overnight somewhere, which is great. So that's another revenue stream coming in. Yeah. Well, and with the beauty of it too is, especially where the OHV park is on what's called the International Dark Sky. So Southern Oregon has this vast expanse of land, and the southern part of Morrow County just sits at the northern part of that. And so Don Nielsen with Travel Oregon, who we're hoping to contract to help develop the event, was so excited when we reached out to her and said that she had drove through a year or two ago and thought, gosh, this would be a perfect place. So we, Vincent and I have looked at some locations in that area with the group, and I expect to hopefully have Dawn out to help forward this
So-
development.
Just to kind of expand on that, we're looking to do a Dark Skies event the weekend of April 17th of this coming year of 2026. And so we have to do some modifications to the park itself to make it Dark Skies friendly. And so that's why we're trying to contract with Don Nielsen regarding that. And so it's hopefully it'll happen soon, but we are planning to do that event in April.
So, and I want to pay homage to Michelle Hull, who did go through Morrow County. That picture, I think, is up out of, is it Hardman?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know exactly where that track is.
yeah, and
Beautiful
it's a
place.
beautiful picture, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so she took some really great pictures here about 2 years ago. Stuff, so just pulling that out. All right, so next slide.
And that's Michelle Hall.
Michelle Hull, yeah. Yeah, she's got some great pictures of Morrow County that I've used in several things. Okay, so wrapped up a 2-year Travel Oregon competitive grant. It was kind of a collaboration between many Eastern Oregon counties for accessibility development. So we expanded the local business owners' understanding of how to better welcome customers with disabilities. They were able to be on we had a professional come out and kind of help walk through the businesses on how to be more accommodating for people with mobility and accessibility issues. So wrap that up this spring. Now that we were a part of that, Travel Oregon at their expense has invited us to be part of what's called Wheel the World. So this is a nationwide program. They're actually housed out. The gal that I've been working with is out of Argentina to help put this together. So any of the businesses that were with us on this past grant journey, we've invited to be part of this. So it's next slide. This is really kind of a unique opportunity for Oregon and especially the communities that have been invited. They're the first state within accessibly verified status on Wheel of the World. So hopefully Oregon is leading the way. There's a lot of people with disabilities that travel, but they're very selective on how they travel and where they travel to. And so we want to make it very accommodating for those people that are coming in. So hopefully later this month, we will be launching the site for both the Umatilla and Morrow counties businesses that are in there. So there will be
That's neat.
Hebner and Boardman will have some exposure in there. So next slide. So just kind of wrapping up here, as I just touched on, launching of the Wheel of the World for our area, developing the Dark Skies event within Morrow County at the OHV Park, updating articles for travel itineraries, looking at some co-op marketing opportunities between EOVA and Travel Oregon, farm trail updates, producers database, getting that information out, updating the brochure. I'm sure some of you have seen the quarterly newsletter that I put out on our area, and getting ready for next month on the Taste of Morrow County at the Association of Counties event.
So I also wanted to mention that we're also working on additional events at the OHV Park, like a gravel bike event, possibly what do they call it? So basically a dual sport event where you're running and biking at the same. So you do run and bike.
Triathlon minus the swimming, because we don't.
Yeah, I
have
think
one.
it's
Duathlon.
duathlon.
Yeah, duathlon.
I think it's
Biathlon, I think.
it's duathlon.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be, but it's one of the two.
And I'd like to throw in
So-
Squatch Watch. I think we could pull it off.
Yeah. So there's several other events that we're thinking about doing, and hopefully those come up to fruition this coming year in 2026. So
Awesome.
Can you give us a little sneak peek of what you plan for the OAMC?
I can. I've actually got a number of it. Well, I will be meeting with these two gentlemen after the meeting today to kind of dial in on some aspects, but I've reached out to We've got Andrea with Black Acre Farms doing some product. We've got Seed and Trowel also doing some paper white bulbs that we'll be giving away. I've talked with Anita Peterson with Rise and Shine Organics for the scones again, because that was a big hit.
You
We've
did
got,
this last time.
yeah, we've got, once again, he wasn't able to do it last year, but we got Travis Brown with Brown House Coffee doing the coffee packets to give away. So that's just a sampling of what we got for this. They call it a Wander Oregon because not everybody has a taste of their county that they can serve up. So they've changed the name the last couple of years to Wander Oregon. So I've got a few more people to reach out to kind of solidify what we will be having at the event.
Thank you.
Any
Yeah.
suggestions that
Yeah.
something you want to see or?
And I've seen Tillamook give out a lot of samples, but that's kind of tough because Tillamook is, Tillamook, down there, so, yeah.
Yeah,
You might get a contingent from their booth coming over,
Oh, yeah.
what are you guys doing?
Well, see,
But
for
I know Tillamook
We
does.
could have their ice cream? No, I would be.
that would
a
be
fan.
fabulous. Well, put me in line. Yeah. The one thing, the hotel does not allow us to use their kitchen anymore. So for a couple of years, as you guys know, we cooked up tater tots from Lamb Weston. And those were a real good hit. But we're not able to use. Now, if somebody wants to bring in a cooker, not a fryer, but some way to do that. I don't think your packing toaster oven is gonna quite supply that enough. So
Who do we have? Who's helping you with that? Who's manning that? Vince? Oh,
I'm joking. No, well, I'll.
I rope everybody in. Yeah.
okay.
We do have Vince and Valerie are both going to AOC with us. I'll be helping with the booth as well. And I think Tamara might pop in as well. So we've got a few people.
Maybe us.
And Justin's good rep too.
Yeah, it's like-
Yeah.
Usually always there. So it's good.
We've got a really good team that helps put stuff together. So
So last year, I don't know if you recall, but some counties actually brought in chefs. And so, and there were chefs there cooking food. That doesn't mean that we couldn't do something like that. We have cattle industry here, so we could.
We could bring a cow in and butcher it.
well, we did. I reached. Yeah, there's a
Maybe
class.
not that far. Maybe the end, like where we actually have steaks and we can, cook samples.
It would, if we could put that together. I did talk with, I think it was Brian with Beef Northwest last year, to kind of along that same line, and they don't really kind of get into that. So if you've got a smaller, I'm open to it. I do have to kind of give my schematics to Jan with AOC here in the
Soon.
next couple days. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions of Carrie?
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, next up was Glenn, Justice Court report. He said if he was open, he'd come. I don't see him, so. He's next door, so he wouldn't be on Zoom, but he did give us a printout. Next up would be after that, Department report. Christie. Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Hey.
Christy Kenny with the Juvenile Department. You should have my written quarterly, but just some highlights that I touch on. Our conference that Samantha, George, and I attended in Eugene was very well received. I think the registrants was ending up being over 280 folks that attended the conference, not just juvenile justice folks. You have some judges, also community partners like our local mental health or folks. I've even sent it out to our school district. So anybody who might want the world of juvenile justice can attend those conferences. So it was a very good received conference this year. And coming up in 2026, the Central Eastern Oregon region, which we call ourselves COJAC, we're actually going to be putting on the conference. So we have our quarterly meeting next week. We'll be attending that meeting in McLaren at the correctional facility. And so as part of that, we'll create a conference committee. And then usually it's comprised of around 10 of us juvenile directors, where we'll be putting on keynote speakers and coming up with agendas for our 2026 conference. So a lot of work to do on that to put a conference together. It takes about a year, but we'll be starting to work on that. Going with that, as we do have our meeting at the correctional facility, OIA has been gracious enough, so Oregon Youth Authority, state level probation has been gracious enough to allow us to do a tour. So there's gonna be, I think, 12-ish juvenile directors from Central Eastern Oregon gonna be touring the facility. They've been doing a lot of updates, security measures. If you recall, months ago, Oregon Youth Authority has been in the news for some of the standards and backlog of cases and investigations, so they're gonna give us updates. They usually give us quarterly updates as is, but they'll be able to show us around the facilities, seeing what parameters they've taken to secure and keep kids safe as well as the staff. So looking forward to that tour. And then after the tour, we then have our 2-day quarterly meeting with Central Eastern Oregon directors. So hopefully that'll be a great meeting and a great tour. Just another update, Norcor, who we utilize for detention services, did increase their daily bed rate for youth to $210 per day. And I believe it was $198 prior to that. So that just increase in costs of, food and just staffing, they did increase the daily bed rate. So just to be aware, always like to give updates on that. I know Norcor has mentioned financially, it takes a lot to run the facility, so they've got to make sure that they continue to keep folks employed and have a facility for our kiddos. There is positions open too, so if anybody knows of any good folks at Norcor, I think there's a detention manager, as well as several, I don't know if they're called corrections officers, but staffing positions within the facility. So if you know anybody, shoot them my way, or I'll be happy to point them in the right direction.
I forget is, Norcor is on a first come, first served. We don't reserve beds.
We don't reserve normally. There's usually not a bed capacity. It's been almost at capacity the last month. But yeah, usually they give preference to the Central Eastern Oregon region, so we don't necessarily pay for them to hold beds. And then just to update, it was House Bill 2677, where in January they will be updating the expungement of juvenile records. It's been now, I think 2021 it began, but there's an automatic expungement. Kids that qualify for automatic expungement initially were cases that were non-adjudicated, or cases what you could say like they were not before the judge or before a court, placed on formal court probation. They might have been cases like informal, maybe a theft 3, fairly minor cases. Over the years, they've expanded or increased the parameters of the expungement. And so the new bill of this one is now including cases that can be adjudicated. So kids that were actually placed on formal court probation from lower end type crimes, but now they've increased it to include some felonies. So that means if a youth turns 18 and is no longer on supervision with us, if they've completed all the requirements, they can actually qualify for automatic expungement, meaning they don't have to request it. Our office just automatically starts that process for them. Another little change in that, there is ability for kids to apply for expungement that may not qualify for automatic expungement, but they say 15 years after the fact, they might want to say, I want to get my record expunged. Before they would have had to wait 5 years. Now they have to wait only 4. So there's just an update in that piece of the bill. So those are big kind of the highlights in our world. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Recently I was at an AOC regional meeting, and I forget the gal's name, but she was talking about Norcor and having discussions about, I guess it's only 3 counties that are the way it was presented for our.
Or it's that support Norcor. I think
Yes.
Sherman, Gillum, Hood River, and Wasco.
Yeah, and so what would it look like for Morrow if we were to step up to that?
Yeah,
That may be something that comes anyways.
Her name is Molly Rogers. She's the
Yeah.
director there in Wasco. I actually had a conversation with her because I get the agenda for those AOC meetings, and I saw that she was on the agenda and was like, what exactly is happening? Because I would like to just get an update and what was that going to look like for the counties that utilize those services. She said there's not necessarily a funding model right now in the works. There's some discussions. Some of that could be, say, a contract of doing a flat rate to hold beds more or less. Say Morrow County this is just an example. It doesn't say this is happening. Maybe it says we'll contract with Norco for $30,000 for the year to make sure that even if we aren't using all of those beds, that Norcor still gets some funding to help support the program. Because it is a big lift for 4 counties, very small counties, 2 of those, to support the working of keeping that functional. So there's some just discussion. I believe Molly was also talking, there's some potential legislative changes that they're gonna present. Molly's recently become our legislative chair within the whole 36 County Association, which is Oregon Juvenile Department Directors Association. And I've now asked to be on the legislative committee so I can continue to get those updates to see maybe there's something the state could do to help detention facilities, because over the years, detention facilities in Oregon have lowered. I mean, Umatilla County had one in, I think it was 2009 or 10 that it closed, kind of for the same reasons. It costs a lot to run those. And just traditionally over the years, the amount of kids going into detention facilities has lowered. We've been trying to be least restrictive, utilizing other county resources, electronic monitoring, other ways. So just the amount of bed use has lowered over the years too. So I don't know what that exactly looks like for Morrow County, but potentially like a contract of just saying a flat yearly rate of some sort, whether you use the bed or not.
Okay, well, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because that was the first time I'd heard about that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we're gonna circle back to Justice Court, and I think Glenn has an introduction for us.
The Board of Commissioners, I would like to introduce Liz and Reddy. Liz comes to us from the Loop, and she's our newest county clerk. We're very excited to have her. And she's been a tremendous asset so far.
My name is Liz. Yeah, I just started at the Justice Court recently. I've definitely learned a lot over the past few weeks. It is a lot more that I do have to take in and held accountable for, I guess. But I mean, it's definitely been fun and just still learning a lot.
Great. I'm sure you'll have it mastered by the next meeting we have.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe I should step out and she can tell you how much fun she's really not having.
We're glad to have you in that position. Thank you very much.
And I told her that you guys would keep the questions down to 25 to 30 minutes that she was prepared to give. So.
Well, okay, thank you. And we got your printed out. Well, was there anything you wanted to add in?
The only thing I'd point out is that in September, first week of September, I attended the Judicial Fall Conference in Beaverton, Oregon. It was another very informative training where we've given updates and trends throughout the state. We covered everything from elder abuse to fish and game violations and laws. Fish and game thing was very timely for this time of year for us coming up, and we learned some things that they had never been passed on to the court for where to report the things, so that if you're convicted of a fish and game violation, that it goes to the right portion of the state, so that the state can look at it and find out that, yeah, you're a repeat offender, or this is a first time offense. Other than that, Justice Court has seen an increase with all the new deputies coming online that I'm sure that the sheriff's offices will speak to. We are seeing an increase in traffic and criminal complaints coming in. I think, it's a double-edged sword. Ideally, we want our police officers to just patrol and keep the peace and not have to write a bunch of tickets, because if they're out there and they're being productive and people know, people are going to follow the rules, and we're going to have a safer, more secure environment.
Well, like you've mentioned before, hopefully it goes up, and then as people adjust, it'll go down as they recognize that there are some roads that have to drive the speed limit or closer to it on.
And I think so. I've always equated it to when you're out in the boonies and you come across a stop sign, chances are more likely than not, you just kind of slow down and go on through it. But when you're in a town,
you're gonna stop because you know the chances more likely not, you're gonna get a ticket if you don't stop. So, and what that does is with the enforcement and everything else, that makes everybody safer and follow the rules. So we have less accidents, which is what we want.
What we want. Okay,
Okay.
any other questions? All right, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you. Okay, next up, we've got Sheriff's Office.
Really don't have to, you keep this 8-year.
Ryan's here for us.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Brian Snyder, Sheriff's Office.
they really are.
Try to keep this short and sweet. Our division, all of our divisions are holding strong right now with our staffing, other than dispatch. The last time I was here, I reported that we had one in backgrounds, which would have left us only with one opening. Unfortunately, they did not clear the background. So we are still sitting with 2 openings in dispatch, but they are running strong and doing well. All of our other divisions are fully staffed and doing well. We still, on the patrol side, have 2 that are in the field training process and have at least probably 6 to 8 weeks left in that before they are completely solo and out on their own. And we have 1 that is at their halfway point at the 16-week academy, scheduled to graduate December, I believe it's 19th, the Friday before Christmas. So, and he's doing well so far. So we still got high hopes. There's a few incidences that I wanted to mention that's happened recently. I guess I want to back up, give a little update on the 12-hour schedule. The staff seem to be adjusting to it and enjoying it. It's definitely increased or decreased our call-in or our sick time, and it's decreased our overtime. With that being said, there's a small caveat over the last 2 weeks, not necessarily, but it's because of two separate incidences that we've definitely acquired some overtime use. One of those being we had a felony assault last week. Deputies and one of our patrol sergeants responded. They were able to get to the victim and get the victim to the hospital with the help of the Morrow County Ambulance Services. The suspect was able to make it to their residence where they barricaded themselves after a 5.5 hour standoff. We applied and obtained a search warrant, which the district attorney reviewed and is up to speed on. We were able to gain access to the residence, take the suspect into custody without any further incident and no injury to our staff or to the suspect.
That's a heck of a way to end a 12-hour shift.
Yeah, so some of our guys, I mean, they didn't we were able to get them off about 14 and a half, 15 hours, but we were right in the middle of it. It's not like we can switch and, transfer people out, but our staff responded very well. I was very pleased. I came out on that. I was very pleased with our staff. I got nothing but good things to say. There's always some learning lessons that came out of it, but overall they responded appropriately and handled the situation with the utmost professionalism that made me very proud to be there and to have them as our staff. On a little bit more of a sadder note, Sunday morning, this past Sunday morning, the 12th, I was called out in the early mornings, and there was a motorcycle found in the river of the Columbia River. Myself and several members of our staff responded. The evidence indicated that the operator of that said motorcycle was in the Columbia River somewhere. 2 of our staff, along with the Boardman Fire Department, volunteered and went out in the water. Safety procedures were followed, but they were out in the water for approximately an hour. They were able to find several personal items, but unable to find the victim. That was a 3-day process. It's been a very long 3 days. However, the relief is that last night, with the help of the Columbia Basin dive team out of Washington, at about 5:05 last night, we were able to locate him, retrieve him, and get him out of the water so he can be taken care of. We were assisted by the Boardman Fire Department, their water boat, along with their drone operator, and the Columbia Basin Dive Team and several of our staff members. And again, all agencies involved handled it with the most professionalism that you would expect. And it was a bad outcome, but it was a good outcome because we were able to locate him and get him out of there so he can be taken care of. The I guess the last thing I just want to update, we've all seen the motorhomes and fifth wheels along Patterson Ferry outside the Green Acres RV Park. We have two deputies that have taken that on and are working with other departments within the county and the state and trying to find a way to resolve that in the quickest, best manner possible. But it's definitely going to be it's not a quick fix. There could be potential criminal charges coming out of that. And along with just trying to figure out who wants and who can and who's willing to pay, because there's going to be some money or some fees that come out of this, and some of them being so old because of possible asbestos and stuff. There's a lot of safety procedures that need to be followed before even the dump will, or the landfills will accept them. So it's going to be a long drawn out process. It's already been several weeks that we've been working on this, but we are continuously working on it and working with other departments within the county to see if we can come up with a better resolution for this, and sooner than later. That's the end of my report. Welcome any
Any
questions.
questions?
Just out of curiosity, or, when you figure out what you end up doing with them, let us know, because that is a kind of a curiosity. What can we do with the old RVs, because like you say, the landfills don't want them, there isn't any value for our scrapyard to take them. So it's just
I will
a
have
challenge.
Yeah, it's been a huge challenge. I will definitely update when we come with an actual answer. The landfill will take them, but we're talking thousands of dollars for like somebody privately to do it, or say the sheriff's office just takes them and we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars, because you have to go get them tested for asbestos. And then if there is any, and that costs an X amount of money. I don't have the figures in front of me, but if there's no asbestos found, that's great. But if it is found, then it's the price like quadruples and just skyrockets, around $5,000+ allegedly. None of us really have that in our budget, especially when you're not talking about one time, but I think there's 4 or 5 out there right now, and they seem to be like rabbits and multiplying overnight. And so
It's a statewide issue.
it is a statewide issue, and just trying to get that handled and come up with a process that we can all do, that would be great. But we're working on it.
Yeah, the landfill will take them, but they're going to want you to have all the oils drained out of all the
Yes.
components and any refrigerant out of appliances. I mean, it's a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. I absolutely agree.
So good luck figuring it out for the rest of this day.
I'm right now, Commissioner, I'm just trying to figure it out for Morrow County. The rest of the state, and I don't know what to say. I'm just trying to figure it out for us.
Any
No.
other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Steve Freeland is at a training, forgot about the BOC, and so he will not be here to present any report. I see that his name's on the agenda, but
So do we need to have an emergency meeting for Steve to make it?
I wouldn't necessarily be objective to that. We will make sure that he gets put on, or if we could get him on the next agenda, BOC agenda, and we will make sure that he's here and given his report then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, next up will be the loop.
Chair.
Dave.
Sorry, just to interrupt. Our planning director's heading out to a conference, and Stephen with the Loop said that she can do before him.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
Okay.
So, thank you. Take a nap while I'm talking.
So actually, I asked Caitlin to pop in because Under Sheriff Snyder was talking about code enforcement. So the very first thing, since leading on the previous topic, I'll let Caitlin tell you where we are with those 4 RVs, motorhomes on Patterson Prairie Road.
Obviously, we don't have much of a solution to prevent people from parking their RVs and leaving them there for ever.
Are they just being abandoned?
They're being pulled out of the,
I think Green Acres is kicking
Yeah.
them out.
Mm-hmm. Which, you know, people pass away or, you know, get removed for lengths of time. For activity. Anyway, they end up out there and they're essentially abandoned and been making lots of calls. And I was able to talk with Bulldog Towing here in Oregon, and they would be willing to tow them for $500 a motorhome plus mileage to a facility that would be willing to take them, which is also challenging to find. But after talking to another tow company, they suggested RS Davis Recycling in Hermiston said that they are willing to take them. Their only requirement is to have them tested for asbestos first, and they will not have an additional charge for taking them.
now we just have to figure out how the sheriff's office is gonna pay for the towing. But it's a great solution. We've waited for this for a long time, a long time.
I'm surprised RS Davis, because, I mean, there is no value in the coach part, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe
There's
just
very
the-
little scrap metal in it, so-
Mhm.
but if they'll take them, that's great.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna really ask a whole lot of questions. If they're
Exactly.
willing to take them, they're willing to take them.
Exactly.
And in comparison, I talked to JNS and Boardman, and they would charge $2,500 to $3,500 per motorhome, and that would include the testing and dismantling. So we would be looking, you know, like $12,000 versus $2,500.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Any questions about that?
Now,
Go get that check from Brian before he leaves the building.
just to kind of stick on that, the autos are a lot, are quite a bit simpler, right? I mean, you can do
Mhm.
scrap value and stuff like that. Yeah, okay.
It's the motorhomes where they just kind of drive them out and
And leave them.
leave them.
All
Yeah,
right.
those are always, thank you so much. You're welcome to stay, or you can go run for Brian, whatever you want to do. So, thanks, Caitlin. Thank you also for letting me go. I do have a little bit of a drive ahead of me. Planning Commission, had another hearing to update our code. I swear, the only good news is they're much more minor and focused compared to the more major one we did last year. So one will come in front of you in November and another will come in front of you in December. The second code update that goes to Planning Commission this month is adopting the solar siting standards, which you directed me to do. So a little bit nervous about it because I'm doing this, trying to do a compare and contrast to see what we leave at the table. I don't think we leave anything because that someone could theoretically apply under the existing standards that we have if they chose, but those would likely be a much smaller project. So we don't want everything to have to go through a more complicated process. So hopefully there aren't any unintended consequences with that. You probably know that the city of Oregon appealed the conditional use permit that you approved for a temporary truck parking. Hats off to Caitlin and Michaela, got that record, 243 pages. That's small relatively to some things that have gone to LUBA, but it's, you know, stacking it in reverse order, making sure it's just right, binding it a particular way. So that went out Thursday, that went out. I think the commissioners saw this executive order from the governor.
Before we move on from that.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe Justin might have to address this. I'm still not clear on what the city of Boardman's part is in this. On the
So-
Luba appeal.
They're like an amicus brief.
I mean,
They're,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the idea. They're just joining and they have concerns. They, just like a brief saying they're on the side of, here again, they're not a party to it, but they're just writing a brief on
So they're
side of area.
intervener.
Yeah.
So
It's-
how do they? I mean,
Just
I
like
know
when-
that
when-
we were what they
Mhm.
call a friend of the court. There's
Yeah,
another,
another thing, yeah, when we did that for Umatilla County, I think one
when
time.
they
way
went
back.
to the Supreme Court Society.
Yeah,
Is that similar to what
Yeah.
they will do? They will
Yep.
just
that's what the same thing they're doing.
write a friend of the,
Mhm.
okay, that's all I wanted to know, but.
I did have a conversation Thursday with one of the lawyers and asked if the parties have had any conversation, and I'm hoping that Dan Kearns and the other lawyers talk and understand what the implications are. So the land use permit follows the property. And but all of these are limited duration, so we have to be really careful not to talk about this case as I'm giving the report, but I can speak in general terms.
Okay, without saying that, just as far as the process goes, does everything stay the way it is right now? Does
Yes.
the person stay, okay?
Yes,
So there's there's no change,
Yeah.
okay,
until it's overturned.
okay, and then, what's the timeline on that, do you think?
You probably have no, I don't, they take a while. I think Dan was talking about Dan Kearns, it do take a while, but do you know also an idea of how long?
I think they have 21 days to deem the record complete or get back to us and say, oh, you've missed XYZ pages, which is more common than not. And then after that, then they issue a record certification and allow legal counsel on either side's an opportunity to look to see if we missed anything. And once the record is complete, then they schedule it for, then the parties have
I don't
2
remember the time.
weeks to submit additional testimony or your defense, if you will. And then they schedule a hearing. And they're fairly caught up. So I mean, it could happen in the next couple of months.
One more question, like I said, I don't want to get into an area. where-
Mhm.
if they ruled in favor of the city of Oregon, would this open up all the other ones that's been approved? No, okay. So it's to be just that one, okay, all right,
It's a very good question, though.
Mhm.
because we've
Um,
done 10,
17,
17. Oh yeah, okay.
yes,
And I mean, none of them were appealed to us,
correct.
they were all just planning commission, except for this one, yeah, okay, okay,
Yep.
that's all I have on that.
Yeah, and it probably wouldn't be completely overturned, but it would be remanded, and you've dealt with those, and they say you need to correct XYZ, and then we can have a discussion at that point to see what we want to do about it, what the county wants to do. So, okay, so you saw this executive order that the governor issued. I had heard a little scuttle that something like this may happen. I've read it a few times. The governor has essentially told the Department of Energy to streamline the process so all of these renewable energy projects can get meet the IRS code to prove that they are, I say shovel in the ground, but there's a more technical term for that to meet the IRS code. Physical work test, they call it, same as shovel in the ground. So we're expecting a bit of an uptick in work. There are 3 projects in Morrow County that are in one stage or another at FSEC and 1 transmission line. And then another one that I've heard about that I expect to be formally filed with FSEC anytime, which is another large project. So not much we can do to prepare. We just have to wait to see how they come.
I also read that twice.
Okay,
Because
good. I
It's
was
like,
like,
whoa.
yeah,
Is there enough specificity, I guess is that the right word,
sure.
in there to, for guidance from the governor, or for you to look and see what what streamline means? I guess I'm trying to say.
I don't think so.
I didn't see it, so
I don't think so either. And I did communicate with the siting staff, the secretary of the council and one of the siting staff, and they're just prioritizing those projects, which I think are numerous. We happen to have a lot compared to other counties in the state. And they'll just try to streamline it as much as possible. The governor also did, and I caught you, Chair, in the parking lot, the governor also gave the director of the Department of Energy enforcement discretion granted to waive civil penalties if one of these projects starts construction. We haven't granted a waiver of anything if they start construction and don't have a land use permit. So you recall that if a project's of a certain size, it's under FSEC jurisdiction, we participate at 3 different places, the site certificate is issued, and then the law says, I think it's ORS 427, county shall issue a conditional use permit. Well, I can't issue a conditional use permit if there's no site certificate. Nor do I feel like I have the authority to waive any enforcement action, which would be a really long, slow process for Caitlin and I to go out and see if they're in violation or what to do about that. So it might be kind of work session worthy. See what you think about
But
it.
what, is there any county penalties that could be enforced, or is it just an FSEC level, and if they choose not to enforce it, then that's it?
I think we could. We would follow the typical code enforcement process, which is you go out, you confirm you're building a barn without a permit. We send you a letter and they say, okay, I'll come in and get my permit. Well, these folks are not gonna wanna slow down. They're gonna continue to meet their physical work test. I, out of courtesy, could let these developers know to say, hey, I don't have the authority that the Director of Department of Energy has, so, you guys start, it's at your own risk. I would think we'd have to change our enforcement ordinance to do something, although we could issue them in the first instance, a citation into justice court.
Do the projects that you see, the 3/4, are they already, do we already have SIP agreements or pilot agreements in place for all these? Or is this something that we might be asked to push through very quickly as well?
No. We
I-
don't, right?
Uh,
What's that one north of IL?
they
Sunrise,
haven't-
nothing on Sunrise.
So Sunrise, we don't, Pine Gate, we do,
Hefner Wind would.
Hepner Wind, okay.
Well, in Sunstone, we have an agreement on ag mitigation, but I don't know if we have,
I
We do.
we
think,
do.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
Oh,
have,
the
we've had a
pilot,
pilot.
yeah, the
over
pilot.
time.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm glad you asked that, Matt, because it's something to think about. It's unprecedented, right? And my brain is like, well, how come you give special privilege to break the rules to these folks? But I don't have that authority unless y'all, maybe with Justin's help, can say, we're gonna frown upon that. But I think a very clever tool would be when you're negotiating for other agreements.
When you say you don't have the authority, you don't have the authority to not put the penalty, or you don't have the authority to.
I don't have the authority to look the other way if there's a
That's what I
blatant
thought you meant,
violation.
right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I know Matt and I have only briefly chatted about it, so we're just kind of brainstorming. I don't have a solution, and maybe,
It's a weird situation to have the state say, we're not gonna enforce the law, good luck, county. It's,
they didn't even give us that second part. So,
yeah, it's tough.
And we don't even know if what they've granted applies to us. And so it's like, okay, you're
Well, I mean,
streamlining for
we're not in the
everything.
Department of Energy. I would think it's pretty
know.
clear it doesn't apply to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, governor does not have that authority over us, so.
and we could quickly make some modifications to our code enforcement ordinance. Maybe the better tool is the 2 outstanding that don't have agreements to say, oh, okay. I'm not sure. It's really kind of a policy discussion of how the board wants to handle that. I mean, the board's been very supportive of these projects, but now they're getting, again, an extra privilege. And we don't get any extra revenue. Maybe we could from that. And the governor does say in her executive order that part of the reason is it's extra revenue for counties. Well, streamlining it does not mean extra revenue to us.
No difference.
Yeah.
But is there, you know, if there's other counties that are really close, that are probably gonna face this dilemma quicker than us, and might see how they
Yeah.
handle it?
I'm hopefully gonna see Umatilla County and Wasco County at the conference I'm heading to. I mean, I can also just call them, but I'm curious to see how they're handling it, and I can report back.
I think it would be worth a work session to talk
Okay.
through.
Okay, excellent. we'll work on that. We'll work on work session. Okay, anything else? I know, have you woken from your nap yet? Okay, whew, he's almost ready to go. Stephen reported, he's doing some excellent drone work for the Public Works Department and is waiting to get a repair on the drone. I love that Caitlin has her compliance cases. One was closed. 6 new ones. She's got about 44 pending cases, and she also does planning work for us as well. That looks like progress to me. The roadmap project, the EPA funded grant, the GSI folks will be out in the next couple of weeks to do another round of sampling, and our office is helping them identify another set of property owners who might be amenable to that. The steering committee will meet again in December. And in September 25th, I met with Ronan and I from GSI met with the Eastern Oregon Regional Solution Teams, which includes Courtney Warner Kroll from the governor's office, to say we're anticipating some barriers when it comes time to implementation. We're not quite a year out to that, but I want to get ahead of the curve because some of those barriers are land use related and then they're other related also. So just more to come on that. I think we're being proactive, and Matt's very much looped into that as well with his work, particularly with all of the West Glen. Just received word last week that ODOT is posted the RFP for our TSP update, Transportation System Plan. Caitlin and I are working on that. She's served a great role to be kind of the project manager in terms of billables and scheduling and all that. And then really shadowing me in the process to learn more about transportation planning. And I was hoping this month I'd give you a real thorough update on the 2025 legislative session. There are still a couple of bills that I've had to read a couple times to see how or if they affect us and how those would be implemented. So rather than piecemealing those, I'm hoping to do that as a complete package at a monthly update next month. And then we also have a challenge in the office where we are recruiting for a principal planner, again, either a principal planner or senior planner. So thank you, that's posted. I get to print those and go to my conference and hand those out. I was successful doing that 2 years ago. We'll see if that works this time as well. So I'm not afraid to pull people aside and say, hey, it's a really cool place. Come work here. So any questions?
Good luck.
Thank you. I could use that. Thank you.
No, I don't have any questions.
No.
Anymore? Okay.
Okay,
Thanks, Tim.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Okay,
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen.
Hello.
Good evening.
The Morrow County Public Transit. Just seeing if my boss wanted to give me more support.
If you need it.
Hello, Tia, go ahead.
So another good quarter for ridership. You can see on the report. We're continuing to grow in ridership as a whole, both from the deviated fixed route and the demand response. This quarter, we got a big boost because we had the summer program from Irgun that we were moving multiple, or not students, I guess, in a summer program, but in a camp program, multiple youth riders to and from the Hermiston pool each day. So in that second or middle graph, you can see July having almost 1,000 rides. A lot of that has to do with that youth program for the month. It is interesting to see that we've kind of found our first plateau. I was very surprised to see the exact same amount of rides 2 months in a row. So now we need to push beyond that barrier and continue to get ridership. Demand response was pretty consistent. That's, the door-to-door service for the quarter. It's a little bit down from previous quarters as a whole. As you guys met Liz today, we lost 2 employees for about a third of this quarter, where we had to limit some of our demand response ridership because we didn't have riders. We never shut it down, but sometimes we had to not expand it as large as we wanted it to be. With that said, on Monday of this week, we had 25 rides in one van on demand response in one day. So we're really packing that full as much as we can, trying to group trips together as much as we can.
I've also spoke with Patrick. We're gonna open up a small window of demand response to support Irrigin. We've got several, I mean, we've got several requests to help support some of the seniors there getting to the senior luncheon at South County on Tuesdays. So we're going to open up where it'll be either he or I take a vehicle down to Ione, pick up that group of seniors. They're only gonna go once a month, kind of working to support understanding we're limited in our ability to do this as well, but help support that to make sure that we're being equitable in our services across the county. Other than ridership there, right, we talked about the partnership with the summer program, which they absolutely love. They've already shared that they're gonna be building their summer programs off of our routes next year as well. So hopefully that's beyond just a visit to the pool. Maybe it's going to other locations now that they know how to use their service. We're working with Region 5 and ODOT. Prior to my arrival here, all of the transit facility agencies got together to bring on through a grant a travel trainer that they're going to share amongst the Eastern Region 5 counties in Oregon. So what that person's job really is, they're going to come in, spend about a year working with each transit provider, identify how, like say, our routes and services could be better aligned with kayaks, could then better be aligned with LeGrand to make it more of a regional uniformity in our connectivity so people can move area to area easier. After that, they'll be building criteria on how to each agency, how they can actually physically train and have like a curriculum of how to train riders to use the busing system. So there'll be a little fee that we obligated to pay to support that grant. Essentially, all the people who have said they would like to do this have to pay about $2,000 for a 2-year period into this grant to help support it as part of the match. We did, we talked about the 2 employees who left. We did get 2 employees back in, 1 full-timer, 1 part-timer, which is what we need. We still have 1 part-time position open, but we're fine navigating without that currently. Both are South County employees. They both, residents that have elected to come up and work up here. So they've both been tremendous. We are working on developing some minor route modifications to start in January. Essentially what it's going to be is, I'd mentioned we kind of have this north and south county loops that go counterclockwise and clockwise. We're going to separate those two where the riders will think they're still doing the same thing. But the North County will go from like Boardman through Irrigin to to Hermiston, and then it will stay in the north. It will go back and forth. And the South County one will go from Heppner through Lexington to Hermiston and kind of stay in that south region, making the connection in Hermiston instead of in Boardman, because we have 0 ridership going directly from Heppner to Boardman. And what that will allow us to do, will allow us to put 2 more routes that we can do on the north end every day, 2 more times back and forth, and 1 full additional trip from the south. So the riders won't see a difference, right? If you're typically used to taking the 1 route to where you're going, it will still be the same. But if anybody who needs to go directly from Heppner to Boardman, which once again, we haven't had any riders that do that, would have to make that connection in Hermiston first. But that 1 change, because now we're not doing a 45-minute essentially empty trip 4 times a day, allows us to put that frequency where we do have riders that will be riding the bus. Hope I explained that well. That's kind of a lot of words.
I think you explained it well.
Other than that, we'll be attending the conference. I just got the notice today that we got the scholarship to attend the Oregon Transportation Conference, which is in a couple of weeks. And the last thing is the Port of Morrow donated 8 bus shelters to the county. Along with that donation, both the city of Boardman and the port are going to help support in different capacities the groundwork that needs to have a shelter on it. We paused that process momentarily because Matt's working with the port. He's kind of taken the lead on it to identify and make sure that the partnership that we're creating because of these donated shelters meet everybody's expectation. Once we've identified kind of how and where maybe they see that their products are best utilized, then we'll start putting some permanent structures into the ground of places we know we won't be moving stops from. Like a great place would be in front of the Boardman Rec Center, and we've already talked to the Boardman Recs in George, and they're willing to support that greatly. What we don't want to do is put something in an area that just because we have a shelter and then realize in a year and a half we're gonna move that shelter, to something else. So it'll be kind of a long play to probably get them all on the ground. Because once we want to identify, right, that this is a permanent resource. Because we kind of have this one-time shot with the city and the port support in doing the groundwork, where we don't have to go through a NEPA study and do the environmental impact ourselves, because they're footing that bill, they're doing the work for us. And so we want to make sure we're being strategic when we're putting those in places, because that can be costly, especially when your funding comes, primarily from grants. So other than that, I'm open for any questions.
Any questions, Stephen?
Question about comment. I think it's great that you are analyzing your leadership and adjusting the routes accordingly. So I think that's something that's been missed in the past.
We definitely want, right, it costs us the same whether one person's on the bus or 10 people are on the bus, right? So we want 10 people on the bus.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, I would make the comment that I appreciate doing a monthly with ION. I think in the past, not very many people have made use of that because it was not always dependable. And I think doing it once a month, if people find it to be dependable, that might increase ridership as well.
We'll be doing it in a bus. So, right. So if say 4 people say they want that ride and then 9 people are there, we can still accommodate that resource. So, all right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, next up would be Treasurer's Monthly Report, Jaylene.
I just heard from Jaylene. She will need to reschedule both the treasurer's report and the state cultural trust presentation.
Okay. Move on then, accounts payable report, that's just written. And then our county administrator report.
Yes, provided a written report. We've got two of the big items that were going on is courthouse project is proceeding. We've got several meetings this week, finalizing furniture plans and other things. We're going through the 50% construction drawings this Thursday and signing off on those. We're still running into little tweaks, even with the furniture. It's like, hey, we need to rearrange this in the public defender's office to make sure there's separation and everything. So catching those and coordinating across several different agencies and in doing that. Still looking to be on schedule, and likely in November, December we'll be really setting with the CMGC about where that budget is and if there's any hopefully good news, but I won't hold my breath on that. So, but we'll be working in that direction, and everything's going on track with that. Also, we have the West Glen Technical Feasibility Project. We've got the reports available. We'll be posting those online. And we also have the final community outreach meeting this evening, 6 p.m. at the Sage Center in Boardman. We are preparing for a good sized crowd and planning to host the meeting in Spanish. So English speakers will be wearing the headphones this time. And in conjunction with that, the city of Boardman has provided access to the rate study. They have not adopted it yet. That will be done in their December meeting. But we have an idea of what they're proposing, and there's still, we need to look at West Glen's buy-in onto the project before we sit down with the city and negotiate what kind of that contractual basis will be. And so, but having that rate study kind of gives us this is what it'll be at kind of the worst case condition, or and we can work from there. So good working with Boardman, and just let you know, Brandon from the city of Boardman will be on the panel tonight, so he'll be able to answer questions from the people directly as well. Attended a couple of AOC meetings, District 3 meeting in the Dalles with Commissioner Peterson, and legislative session. There's still a lot of funding concerns in regards to mental health. The state is still dragging their feet on the CAFA, the big funding for which we provide to CCS. And there's still a lot of talk from AOC and the counties, really kind of headed up by the big counties that have a lot of budget going through there. We do as well, but we're letting them take the heavy lead as they go through it. And pretty much it comes down to that phrase, if funding is available. And the governor kind of wants to make it so we provide those services even if the state doesn't have the money. Which
would incentivize them to not have the money.
Yes, exactly. We did have a session with the Sergeants Association for bargaining. Right now, they are considering a few items. We did not have a date for the next meeting, but they requested some additional information, which we have provided. And so we also have the full-time employee reclassification process that started. That was sent out first part of this week, due date of November 3rd. We anticipate with the current budget, my messaging to our department heads is that, we've had a lot of employee growth over the last 2 years. We're not really anticipating it. So please, if you come, be sure you identify mission critical items or have revenue sources for the requests. We do have a couple, one FTE that will be out of cycle that won't be associated with the budget one. And that's in regards to this third amendment that's coming up. Once, if you do consider and pass that, we will be pulling together an employee that's funded off that's directly related to work with the nitrate issue in the Guama that the state's funding. So just to give you a heads up on that. Also, we had a little bit delay on the capital improvement plan meeting. We did have that yesterday. Pretty good kickoff, I think. A really good discussion.
I agree.
And so we do have plans to work on our lists, and per the bylaws, we're looking at likely the first meeting in December to have that list to bring back to the BOC for you to kind of give us the heads up and give us the short list of which ones to really pull down for the next 3 to 5 years. So we are working on that.
I want to add something to that.
Yes.
I like the setup. I've already been approached 2 times by people who, well, you ought to do this, and I've totally referred them to you guys.
They haven't followed up, but that's good.
Yeah, no, that's the way it should be. So,
yeah. So we do have several meetings coming up. The one this evening is pretty big. Just wanted to flag, we do have a couple of trips or vacations planned. Our finance director is out on a well-deserved vacation from the 20th to the 27th. That's not in this report. Vince will be out from the 27th to 31st, and myself will be on vacation from the 31st to the 4th of November. So just to let you know, those, we will make sure things are covered. I've already talked with Kevin on that, and Vince and I will be coordinating to make sure everything's covered in our absences. So that's what we've got going on right now. Any questions?
okay, any questions about?
So circling back to the mental health thing. Now there is, and I'm not proposing that we do this because CCS does a great job and they're a great partner, but the counties are able to turn that over to the state and not take on that responsibility, right? Hasn't that been an option?
Two counties have done that, 2 smaller counties, and you can do it. It creates some challenges, but
Like I say, I'm not proposing it, but
It would be an interesting thing if, say, the large counties said, you know what, maybe we'll all just turn it all over to you, state. If this is the way, it might be an interesting negotiating.
yeah,
that was
feather.
what I was thinking. Doug.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you want to force our hand, let's,
Then you will find the funding.
yeah.
Not all the counties have a pass-through agency. Some of them have internal, which I think some of the bigger ones do. But that is an option.
Like I say, at this point, I'm definitely not proposing it because CCS does a great job and it's local and everything, but I guess that is the bargaining chip with the state is say, well, fine, if it's contingent upon funding, you'll find the funding when you're in charge of it.
I was polled by someone from the state about CCS.
Oh.
So, and I told them, you've been involved and you've seen other entities or whatever you might call them, have lots of problems. I said, this is one of the best run, and I hope you guys agree with me. It's one of the best run organizations, and it's shown with her other counties wanting to be part of it, but I mean, it just runs really good. So anyway, just to let you know that that's, I gave them a plus. Because they haven't, they've just did a good job, so. Anyway,
Appreciate that. I thought you were gonna say, I've been polled by the state about whether or not they should fund it, and you were gonna rip
No.
the polls. So I thought you were gonna, no, the state didn't ask that.
yeah, no, I'd have to hear, well, actually, I'd have to hear more about that, even based on what I heard today too. So it's not gonna be a quick and knee-jerk reaction based on what the bigger ones would do.
We do have the amendment signed to provide funding through December 31st of this year. Earlier this year, the state got in that thing of sending out the amendment, just hoping that we would sign. We will keep an eye on that and make sure that they just, if you want to sign it, go ahead. And that one would definitely be at a level where we'd be bringing it before the board.
Any other questions about the county administrator report? Nope. Okay. So we'll
Thank you.
go on to consent agenda. Any of those you guys want to pull out?
I second.
Moved and seconded, and further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay. I'll take this into our, I'm gonna call a 5-minute recess before we start our business.
Yep.
Okay, getting back to order. First business item will be C, third amendment of the Oregon Health Authority 225-227. Intergovernmental agreement for the financing of public health services. Agreement 185-824-3. Robin, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes, she is. There she is.
Robin, can you hear us?
Maybe she thought it was a 5-minute break. That was a quick
5,
That was a quick 5. Actually took 5, so. Well, how about if we just circle back to her, okay?
We can.
I think she just popped off.
Oh, there she is.
Yvonne's raised her hand.
Okay, Robin, can you hear us?
Just muted herself. There we go.
Can you hear us now?
Oh, Robin, we can't hear you.
Keep talking, but.
Have we had anybody on Zoom yet today?
She can't hear you.
We have not had anybody talk on Zoom yet.
So we're
today.
not sure if it's tested to work. Yeah, she's very actively talking.
Yeah.
Let's see, our volume.
Does somebody want to call her on their phone?
We do hear that though.
I want to see if test Kevin, see if it's her or us.
One of each. Perfect. Perfect.
I think it's right, we heard the.
Okay, try again, Robin. Can you?
No. Like not picking up her microphone on her side or something.
Does somebody want to call her, or do you want to call Matt on your phone, Robin?
She had important things to say based on expressions.
She can hear us.
I just tried to call you on my county phone and it went to voicemail.
Uh-huh. So, we've got you on here and, hopefully we can hear and take care of it.
Okay, go ahead, you got the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. Robin Day, Public Health Director for Morrow County for the record. Yeah, so I had attached a copy of our most recent amendment to our contract with OHA. And originally had it on the consent agenda, but we moved it to a business item for your awareness and to point out the program element 75 amount that's been added to the agreement. Can you see that?
Hey, Robin, can you mute your speaker?
No, we
Or
need
ours. Oh, just a sec.
Is this better?
Just gonna mute our side real quick.
Yeah, mute our side. Nobody else on Zoom.
Sorry. You're right.
I think that's better.
Yes, that's what.
All these technical issues, I apologize. Anyway, back to the amendment to the OHA public health grant. In the program element 75, you'll see there's a significant amount added. Trying to pull it up here. Do you have it in front of you, 98? I want to get the exact amount here.
We have $96,253 for PE 75.
Thank you. Meant to have that in front of me, sorry. All these technical issues have me all rattled. Yes, so that came about due to, I can give you a little bit of background on that program element 75. That was what OHA had granted back when the nitrate issue started to Morrow and Umatilla County to be able to hire someone to work this program and work with the communities on well testing and all of that. So with DHS or ORAM, the Office of Resilience and Emergency Management, stepping back from the well testing, that has put more responsibility on my staff to go out and do the well testing. So the request to OHA was for a second staff person in that department. And that's what you see reflected in that amount there, is that they approved a budget that I proposed to them to hire a second person in that department to help with the well testing. So that's the FTE ask that's going to be out of cycle.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Oh, but does that cover it, Matt? I'm not sure if I need to add more.
Yeah, as far as that one, is there any explanation for the one right above that, the PE 5105 for the $128,000 increase?
Yeah, if you look down further in the amendment, that's a rollover of unspent funds from the last biennium.
Okay.
And that's in the modernization infrastructure, which we had a hard time spending those dollars in the last biennium.
And that lets you just do improvements to your own facilities and such?
I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing you because I had to turn my volume down. So I'm actually hearing you, hold on. I'm actually hearing you on Yvonne's computer in the next room. So could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
So that rollover amount, what could that be spent on?
Can we test out your bonds computer?
Hey, Robin, you know, yeah, as far as the rollover amount, what can that be spent on?
Workforce. Yeah, that's for our modernization work, it's for workforce, so. It's pretty specific.
Okay.
Do that, so, possibly increases in our, current FTEs that we have. I don't know, possibly.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Sorry,
Yes.
I didn't make that very clear.
No problem. Any questions from the commission?
I'm very happy to approve an amendment that has more money to pay for an FTE. So I will move to approve amendment 3 to contract 185,824 and to sign the documents necessary.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll let
thanks,
you go, Robin.
Thank you, my apologies for the technical difficulties, thanks for bearing with me.
All right,
We got it.
worked out.
Have a good day.
Okay, next up would be, agricultural mitigation fund agreement advisory committee. Now, you saw the original agreement that was, I included that, so you'd see the
Mhm.
base agreement. They're not actually on the cusp of starting construction, but I had some people talking to me and some people who might benefit from the mitigation plan in Morrow County. So I thought I'd reach out to Pinegate, who, runs Sunstream, and make sure we're holding up our end of the deal. She said, yeah, we're not actually ready to go, but when you guys are kind of in charge of the program, so whatever you want to do. So I went ahead and reached out to Morrow County grain growers. They held a board meeting. They're allotted 2 members. So they elected 2 members. Soil Water Conservation, Kevin Payne, they held their board meeting. They elected 2 people. I called Katie Imes about FSEC. They have 2 spots on there. They have their board meeting October 23rd, so they're gonna put 2 on there. And then there's another spot on there that it's kind of tailor-made to our, Mr. Lucher. So I did call him, but I didn't get a call back, but that's kind of a given to me. That's what it was there for. And then there is a farmer at large, and I talked to Kevin about that at the grain growers and said he might have some names that he might give to us. But what my thought is I'd kind of like to get our person down and then bring back the entire board when it's, soon, so that we're not sitting here with everybody except naming ours. That makes sense?
You don't want us to be the last thing holding it up?
What's that?
You don't want us to be the last thing holding it up?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to, I want to get a settle.
I-
Yeah,
I think
then
that's
let's stay
reasonable.
together. So I think my suggested motion, I don't know, has anybody got any questions about this? And I've been talking to Nikki Olafson, Senior Manager for Stakeholder Relations. So that's who I've been kind of coordinating with on this. And like I said, and the other thing too is in the original agreement, you'll see it's $11 million. And they had planned to start the project all at one time. But now they're talking about chunking it up into, I think, 5 or 6 different parts. I don't know.
I think 6 parts.
6 parts, okay. So the mitigation money is going to come in as they start the projects.
Mhm.
So if they do the entire project, it'll be 11 million. Otherwise, it's based on the number of acres in that particular chunk. So anyway, I just thought it'd be good to get the thing in place, and then because they're not quite sure when construction is going to start. I thought, let's get it set up and ready to go. no harm in that. So we need to appoint somebody.
So Dave, and you may not have the answer to this, but have you ever heard what their thinking was as to why FSAC has two positions on this? I mean, when FSAC deals with siting energy, they have nothing to do with agricultural stuff. And I understand that was their agreement and they put them in there, but I just didn't know if you'd heard anything on there.
I tried to find out, and everybody's kind of bummed. They're just happy they got their goal 3.
Okay.
Maybe that was part of it is through.
I suspect that was it. And I suspect, you know, I think Tamara did mention one time that, see, this was new. When they came to us and Jeff, you remember, they were very unsure. They kept, you know, nobody quite knew what they wanted. You remember that? And so we put a little pressure on them, says, hey, come to us for the plan. So they went and they developed this plan. And I guess, you know, it was good enough that the state kind of set it up as a template, I heard. I think that's what Tamara said.
Yes,
Is,
this is what basically the state made their template for agricultural mitigation based on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, so I felt pretty good about that. Moore County helped with that. So as far as the two on there, I just, you know, I called Katie. We have, you know, somebody from Lexington, Katie Imes, Eric's wife, who's on FSEC. So she said, yeah, we'll get that taken care of October 23rd. So.
So Dave, are you interested in being the member? I mean, you've been involved in this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it'd be considered a conflict of interest with me being on the UEC board and we will be providing transmission services to Sunstone. I realize this is different. You know, and I don't know if Gus will be applying for some of these agricultural mitigation dollars.
That was what I was gonna ask him, because I think Gus should be on there, but I didn't know if he was gonna be, and I don't know, is it gonna go to individual? Well, now I'm speculating.
Yeah, I would like to be on it, and if there is a scenario where I just won't apply. But I consider it really important, and this is something that I'm invested in deeply personally. And you know, this is my livelihood and what I grew up with, and this is my community, as it were, and I would like to see this done as well as it can be. And
I mean, who wouldn't like giving out $11 million? I mean, you know. what's
that's
not to
true.
like about that?
That's
So,
true. It's a
you
lot
know, I
more
go,
pleasant than some other jobs
"Oh, I
might be.
wouldn't mind doing that." But I do think, Gus with his background and his knowledge and his everything is probably the right man for the job.
So I will make the motion to appoint Gus as our representative to
And
this
I'll second.
Sunstone Mitigation Advisory Committee.
I'll second that. Moved and seconded, right, Commissioner Peterson, to the mitigation committee. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. And then just so I kind of reiterate what I said is, we will be back with the final complete board for your approval at some point, okay? And,
Well, and I think Larry Lucher, yes, he's the one who should be for the academic institution engaged in agricultural research. In Morrow County.
yeah, let's see. I was gonna say that. Gus, who else would fit that
South
role?
Morrow
Let's-
County, residents after this.
So anyway,
The last name that starts with the same letter as his first name.
yeah, there you go. Okay, let's get to that, thanks. And next we have 6E project report, Western Committee wastewater facility studies, as they've added in wastewater. So Matt, go ahead on that one.
So this is just providing the Board of Commissioners a copy of the feasibility studies that we had contracted through the Business Oregon grant, the technical feasibility grant. This is, the study is what we've been basing the community outreach programs on. So a lot of the specifics or general topics you're aware of, but we wanted to provide a copy of the report to you and make it available to the public. We will have copies of that available for distribution at the meeting tonight for West Glen individuals, and I do have a direction from the Clean Water Consortium to run it through some AI translators and have one of our in-house translators just check to see how it does. So it's available in Spanish as well. But pretty much the water feasibility explored 5 options, which included deeper wells, in-home or full home filtrations, a community water system, and connecting to a public water system for the city of Boardman. And the other one was a combination of a deeper well and in-house filtration system. And so it just gives all the feasibility of those, leaning towards the connection to a public water system as the most feasible. Again, this is not a decision type thing, but it has given us direction on applying for funds and such. The wastewater one was more of just what it would cost to explore going to the public wastewater system and in Boardman. And part of it says, you know, the nitrate issues, if water is supplied from a public water system, you take care of that, then the sewer, well, nice, does not become a driving issue on that, because then you don't have cross contamination. But it did provide some estimates on what those costs would be. And so just wanted to provide that to the Board of Commissioners. We'll have that on file and to take any questions if you have any.
My question, just a comment now, and it's not related exactly to West Glen, but water. Did the letter from the city of Oregon, did that come in? Did we talk about that? We didn't talk about that at the last meeting, did we? About the well and the funding?
Not at the last meeting, no.
We haven't talked about that in a public meeting. Is there any comment you wanted to make on that? Where it was, all it did was, you know.
Well, we had a meeting where you're talking about the current congressionally directed spending.
Yeah, that we.
So we took action on that
Yeah,
a couple months ago.
no, I know we took action, but we got a follow-up letter.
You're right.
And I just wondered if there was anything that.
So
No, I
you
mean-
follow up to the follow-up?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a cool letter, you know, shows that things are moving forward, so. You know. Okay,
So Aaron will want to make sure he gets the right map and tax lot number, because he's trying to drill a well on somebody's property that's not the CDA's.
Oh. Make note of that.
but they didn't waste any time moving forward on that. I just think that's a good sign for the whole effort that's been done in Morrow County to try to mitigate this nitrate. Anyway. No action on it or anything like that. Probably should have gone into correspondence. Okay, so I think that covers our business, and then we will go to correspondence now. And the Black Mountain Water District request for conveyance, you saw that. And do you want to kind of update us, Matt, on when we're gonna address that, or how that's gonna be addressed, the request?
So
To get that little slip.
This is one I just talked to, during our admin council meeting on Monday. Matt brought this up, so it's, they'll be looking into, but haven't worked on it over yet.
So my question when I was reading this isn't county property, is it?
You know, it's the idea of like, I haven't looked at the ORS, but Matt, you can go ahead and you looked into it some.
Yeah, so it looks like from surveying, it's no man's land.
Well, at some point, somebody owned it.
I would mention that at the meeting, and at our meeting, I was like,
Does that mean
somebody
nobody
owns
owns it?
it
It
at
means the
some
county
point.
owns it.
Right?
Right?
At some point, somebody owned it.
yeah,
When Black,
but we also don't know if they were going, you know, if it's based upon a survey. Like, oh, there's this, the survey was wrong, here's this area. Then it's not like a tax foreclosure where you have certain spots like, oh, who owns this? No one's hated, it's this little sliver. This is a little bit different, so at some point, someone believes they owned it. And so that's why I was wondering also about the sliver, who owns what side, and someone's gonna say, well, your survey says this, but who?
well, if nothing else, wouldn't it be the underlying property owner that owned the property before Blake's Ranch was subdivided?
Well, that's what I thought. And
But
Mr. Blake did it in what, 1950 something?
I don't remember.
Oh.
So what would
I
be
never researched.
I don't
history of Blake
remember
Ranch,
either.
yeah.
is of course a full title search. and going through that to ascertain what that parcel is. We'd asked, because this is kind of a land use item, we did shoot off to our land use council for, the process. He was out of town this last week, so we haven't had a chance to get a fully outlined process on that. And so we'd like to just bring it up here, acknowledging the request, but for our next meeting, we'd like to have a short presentation of what that process would be. And, if there's a cost to do a title search or whatnot, make sure that we, Black Mountain like to pick that up because they'll be receiving it. Those are kind of the conversations we'd like to have. So we didn't want to engage in too much of that because we didn't want to incur costs without knowing what the process would likely be.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Interesting situation.
Well, it's interesting since it defaulted to the county, because.
Maybe, we don't know yet. We
No,
don't-
no,
yeah,
no, the request.
Oh, it did,
defaulted
yeah,
to the
yeah,
county.
that's right,
Not, we haven't done it. I just mean that they would request it. I mean, because
It's an odd one.
I don't even know who Blake or who Mr. Blake bought that from to carve that out. I don't know, was it the.
We'll be learning the history, I guess. That's the fun part.
One of those odd times where you guys get to play King Solomon. So
Bobby's got her hand raised.
That's probably some.
Maybe we want to just keep it for county property.
Keep the new park access.
Yeah, the park. Okay.
Yeah, but.
That's a joke, everybody.
No, it's-
Please.
So did Bobby have something?
Bobby's unmuted now.
Bobby, did you raise your hand?
she disappeared.
Oh, she's still there. She was on the next one. Yeah.
Bobby Childers?
Did you have a comment?
Yeah, just a minute. So those are platted. There's two Blake Ranch plats. So she talks about tax lots. That's not the same as a lot. So I would just go to the plat. Because it tells you all the dedicated roads and easements within that plat.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Bobby. Okay. It's all our correspondence, I guess. We usually don't list them. Is there any other? Okay. Commissioner reports, Jeff, you wanna? Get off?
Last Friday was a meeting, not a whole lot went on there, just kind of the normal business. And I think, seemed like there was something else, but I can't recall anything else important.
I don't think. Guess we could give a little Krez update if you guys want it. So we know where we're at.
Sure.
Okay. I was gonna, the Krez is wanting to look for a permanent manager. And so I was getting ready to set up a meeting, couldn't quite get everybody together. In the meantime, Lamb Weston came back, if you remember in 2023, they applied for a pretty substantial expansion of their plant in Boardman, but then they canceled it and withdrew that. They came back with a scaled down version, about 145 million, and made application, and we approved that. Well, the application just takes myself and the assessor, so everything was in order there, so I signed off on that. I think they should send them their fees, $7,500. I think that should be getting paid. So the next meeting, I'm waiting now. Oh, then sent the agreement off to the Krez attorney. And it's pretty much modeled after the first one they did. It's filling the amounts. So we got that back yesterday, so I'm gonna be getting ready to call a meeting of Krez 3 and Krez 2 together. Of course, Krez 3 is just gonna deal with Lamb Weston, take a look at it. Krez 2 and 3 are gonna deal with a manager. There's a job description that's made up. And then it's a proposal by the city of Boardman to maybe have and we'll just wait to see what Brandon said, that he said, well, might be able to think about working something out with the city of Boardman. I said, I'll try to put you on the agenda. He said, yeah, so that would be part of the permanent manager position proposal. So that's coming up and hopefully we can get that meeting next week. So Valerie's good enough to give me a doodle poll. She knows how to do that real well, so hopefully you'll be sending that out maybe on Thursday. So just kind of an update on the CREZ.
So it's good to hear that Lamb Weston's back to talking about expanding,
Yeah.
other rumors throughout the communities that Lamb Weston has been struggling the last couple of years, which is why they paused the first expansion. But
If they're re-exploring expansion, that
that's
would
a
be great.
positive sign.
That would be excellent. Yes,
And that plant closure up in Washington wasn't.
that was a big scare for a whole lot of people.
Shows commitment to our county.
Great. Well, that's a good report. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And look forward to having our CREZ meeting.
Okay.
That's all on CREZ. Got anything?
I don't have anything for today.
Okay. With that, that concludes that. We're going to hold an executive session. Morrow County Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192-6602E, which allows the commission to meet in executive session to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions. Representatives of news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All the members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session. State the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and let the audience back into the room. And we have, before we sign off, there could be a potential decision or action item as a result of the executive session. So with that, move out of open meeting and move into executive.
I think we're good, Chair.
We're good? Okay, we're back in open session. Do I hear a motion?
I move to authorize the county administrator to purchase property to facilitate proper access for the county courthouse project.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Any other further business to come before the commission? If not, hold the meeting adjourned.
Aye. Thank you.